My pre-recorded videos. Enjoy this opportunity for presenting my case in presence of esteemed audience. My case is an acute stent thrombosis following coarctation stenting in a patient with Turner syndrome, which is a rare and great complication. Percutaneous stent implantation for the treatment of coarctation has rapidly evolved in the last year. Acute stent thrombosis is an extremely rare complication. We report one such complication seen following coarctation stenting in a patient with Turner syndrome. A patient is a 14-year-old child with Turner syndrome who was diagnosed during evaluation for short stature. She was referred to cardiology, where she was found to have feeble lower limb pulses and hypertension. Echoes showed a discrete post-subclavian coarctation of aorta. We decided to go ahead and stent the coarctation. In the angio, we found the transverse source was 9.6 millimeter and the length to be stented was 29 millimeter. She underwent a transcatheter coarctation stenting using a 30 mm Andromed XL stent crimped over 10.40 mm tooth balloon. Post-procedure angiography showed good flow across the stent and the descending aorta. So this image, in the first image, we can see the pre-stent arch injection, which shows the coarcted segment. And post-stenting, the angio showed good flow across the stent. 4 hours post-procedure, she was found to have poor femoral pulses in the ward. The upper limb and lower limb systolic pressure gradient difference was around 50 millimeters of mercury. Immediate echocardiography was done, which showed decreased flow across the stent and with the continuous wave Doppler showing diastolic failing in mean gradient of 14. The patient was immediately shifted to cath lab and angiogram was done through the radial axis in the AP view, which showed minimal flow seen across the stent. You see a narrow pedicle of flow within the stent. So we decided to balloon dilate the stent. O35 thermowire was passed through the radial axis. It was snagged and taken away through the femoral axis. A Judkins type catheter was passed from the femoral root and advanced into the aorta. The thermowire was then exchanged for O18 wire and graded balloon dilatation was planned. Over the wire, 8x30 pushback balloon was advanced, placed across the stent and inflated. Post-inflation, with the gradient which was in pre-ballooning, the gradient was 50 across the coarctation stent. After the initial ballooning, the gradient reduced to 20. Since there was some residual gradient, we decided to further balloon dilate using 10x30 and 11x30 Dishak balloon in a similar manner. Post-balloon dilatation, we saw good flow across the stent and there was no significant pressure gradient seen across the stent. Post-balloon dilatation, the echo showed good flow seen across the arch and descending aorta with no diastolic detailing and a mean gradient of 4. The use of intravascular stent therapy has become widely accepted for children and adults. The complications we normally encounter are aortic dissection, intimal tears, aneurysmal dilatation, access-related complications, stent migration, stent fracture, and restenosis. Our patient is an older child with Turner syndrome who underwent percutaneous bare metal coarctation stenting, who developed thrombosis of the stent, which was identified by vigilant BP monitoring and checking pulses. It was managed with emergency balloon dilatation and anticoagulant therapy. Turner syndrome itself is an independent risk factor for development of cardiovascular abnormalities. High risk of aortic valve complications, including dissection and aneurysmal formation, are observed in Turner syndrome due to cystic medial degeneration causing aortic valve fragility and inherent arteriopathy. Review of literature showed one such similar patient who presented within 3 days of stent implantation with thrombosis, and the patient was very sick. He underwent intravenous thrombolysis and was not suitable for percutaneous or surgical treatment. In the largest study to date of Turner syndrome patients receiving aortic stents, total of 19 patients studied in 10 different centers. 3 patients had adverse effects related to dissection and 1 related to death. So the take-home message at the end of my presentation: the development of stent thrombosis is extremely rare in the acute setting, so it is imperative to anticipate the same in the background of unfavorable cardiovascular profile in patients with Turner syndrome. Turner syndrome, as such, they have an inherent abnormality of the protein C and protein S, and therefore they have more thrombophilic tendencies. Covered stent usage is usually recommended in patients with Turner syndrome because of the higher rate of vascular complications. Thank you.
Very interesting case.